When you think of the most hated sports teams, it's easy to understand why those clubs have drawn so many haters over the years. The New England Patriots, Dallas Cowboys, Toronto Maple Leafs, New York Yankees, Houston Astros, Golden State Warriors, et al. These teams have long winning histories, obnoxious fan bases full of bandwagoners, embarrassing scandals, or all of the above. Most professional sports teams offer at least one logical reason to dislike them, but for a variety of reasons, these 10 franchises are simply impossible to hate. Buffalo Bills. The Bills have emerged as an AFC powerhouse under GM Brandon Beane, head coach Sean McDermott, and quarterback Josh Allen. And in the sporting world, being a constant winner often means generating plenty of hatred upon yourselves. But not with these Bills, because quite frankly, how can you hate on a smaller market team with one of the most loyal, passionate, and caring fan bases in all of sports? It was hard not to shed a tear for Buffalo and their supporters when they lost 4 straight Super Bowl championships in the 90s decade. This team didn't make the postseason once from 2000 to 2016. Even though they consistently stood near the bottom of the standings, Bills Mafia treated practically every home game like it was a playoff game. Also, how many other fan bases jump through tables to get themselves fired up before games? We're not recommending it, but we're just simply pointing it out. Oh, and the Bills' rise to success means the full-on ending of the New England Patriots' evil empire and dynasty. And we know just how many football fans hate the Patriots. So, thank you, Bills, for finally taking the bully down. This fan base waited a long time to see a winner again, and it's finally here. Even if the Bills become a dynasty, and we wouldn't bet against that, the football world will have a tough time learning to hate these guys. From lovable losers to lovable winners, it's been quite the turnaround here in Orchard Park. Milwaukee Bucks. Almost every NBA champion since 2012 has been a super team, but Giannis Antetokounmpo and the 2020-2021 Milwaukee Bucks were an exception. The Greek Freak is one of the most universally loved athletes in the entire world. You simply cannot hate on an awesome feel-good story like him. He exceeded expectations coming into this league, turned a small market club into a winner, and decided to stick with them long-term rather than do the boring and lame super team mumbo-jumbo. Here's hoping that Giannis has inspired other NBA superstars on smaller to mid-market teams to stay loyal and build a champion with a team that believed in them. The game is boring when teams go the super team route to win championships. Perhaps one day we'll look back on the Bucks as the team that saved basketball by building a winner the fun way. Thank you to Giannis and Milwaukee for doing it properly. Tampa Bay Rays. Some NHL fans have gotten bored of the Lightning's never-ending dominance, and Tom Brady's arrival and immediate success, coupled with the signing of Antonio Brown, obviously brought a lot of heat to the Buccaneers. But how can anyone in the baseball world possibly hate on the Rays? Answer: they shouldn't, and they don't. The Rays are one of the coolest stories in all of sports. Despite very limited financial resources and despite having very few fans who actually care about baseball, this team just keeps grinding out consistent playoff contenders. Because of their limited resources, the Rays always have to trade away star players before their contracts run up. And then they just keep finding other guys out of nowhere who then turn into bigger stars. Plus, the Rays have made a habit of beating up on the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox, arguably baseball's 2 most hated teams. So that's gotta count for something, right? The only missing thing in St. Petersburg is a World Series banner. If that day comes, even non-Rays fans will have to be happy for this Moneyball team full of non-superstar players. Cincinnati Bengals. Like the aforementioned Buffalo Bills, the Bengals have spent much of their history in the lovable loser category. They were one of the NFL's worst franchises in the 70s, through the 90s, most of the 2000s, and the back half of the 2010s. This team has had very limited postseason success throughout history, and you simply couldn't help but feel bad for the team and its ultra-loyal fan base. But things have changed for the better under 2020 first overall pick Joe Burrow and other young studs like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Logan Wilson. It was thrilling to see Cincy make that unexpected run to Super Bowl 56, but you also had to feel bad for them to see the dream end in heartbreaking fashion. Similar to those 2 Super Bowl losses they suffered against Joe Montana's San Francisco 49ers in the 80s. It's easy to dislike several star NFL QBs, but Joe Cool is impossible to hate. Burrow has such a calm and relaxed demeanor, and it's simply a feel-good story to see a kid who grew up in Ohio turn this longtime loser back into a winner. And in general, it's really hard to find a good reason to dislike these Bengals. Carolina Hurricanes. Other NHL heavyweights like the Tampa Bay Lightning, Colorado Avalanche, Vegas Golden Knights, Boston Bruins, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Toronto Maple Leafs have developed their fair share of rivalries with other clubs, so it's hard to pinpoint these clubs under the impossible to hate label. But Rod Brindamore and company truly haven't given us a reason to dislike the Carolina Hurricanes. In a league where too many of the league's top stars are kinda dull and meh with the same old hockey cliches in their interviews, these Hurricanes show a lot of character and personality together. The Hurricanes play in a non-traditional hockey market, but the fanbase has been as thunderous and boisterous as just about any other since Brindamore took over as head coach. It's just incredible to see this team churn out so many wins despite lacking big-name superstars. They're almost the Moneyball team of the NHL, if you will.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll call you back. Thank you.
Their post-game celebrations when they win, be it the Storm Surge, Duck Hunting, or Domino Fall, really puts the fun in hockey. Truthfully, we need a lot more teams like this. So, thank you, Hurricanes, for making hockey fun and cool in a super creative and unique way. Perhaps other NHL clubs will follow suit one day. Denver Nuggets. Look around the best teams in the NBA and the more recent champions. A lot of people came to hate the Golden State Warriors once they picked up Kevin Durant. The Los Angeles Lakers and Boston Celtics will always have their share of haters. The Brooklyn Nets have become a circus of the court for obvious reasons. But the Denver Nuggets? Well, that's one team that is very difficult to hate on. Everyone, and we mean everyone, loves Nikola Jokic. How can you hate a top 5 player in the league when he's always so humble and full of grace? Denver has never played in the NBA Finals, so it's not like they have a long winning history to the point where you start hating them. Everyone loves a good dude like Jokic, and it'd be awesome to see him bring a championship to Mile High City. Like Giannis, he gets full marks for staying loyal to his team instead of jumping ship and eyeing a championship via the boring super team way. Hat tip to you, Nikola, and Denver fans for making this team impossible to hate on. St. Louis Cardinals. Unlike other historic franchises with long winning histories like the Yankees, Red Sox, Los Angeles Dodgers, or San Francisco Giants, the St. Louis Cardinals really have had a tough time generating haters outside of the Chicago Cubs fan base. There's just something about the Cardinal way that has made this organization so well respected and admired across the baseball world. They don't buy their teams like the Dodgers. They didn't have divas or me-first guys like Alex Rodriguez with the Yankees or Manny Ramirez and Curt Schilling in Beantown. They don't have the sign-stealing scandal that remains etched in the Houston Astros lore either. No, this is just a team that has always been about baseball first and nothing else. Sure, the odd time they'll throw money in free agency, but look at guys like Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright, and others. Homegrown talents that the Cardinals developed themselves. Speaking of Pujols, Molina, and Wainwright, those are 3 of the most beloved and respected MLB players of the 21st century. Throw in the likes of Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, and you've got a model and classy organization with tremendous management complemented by an awesome top-notch fan base. Toronto Raptors. The Raptors have been such a lovable team since their run of success began back in 2014 behind the all-star play of DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. Team president of basketball operations Masai Ujiri is one of the best in the business, turning the Raptors into a long-term heavyweight through the draft plus develop method. He's a guy everyone can root for thanks to his incredible and never-ending philanthropy and activism outside of basketball. The 2018-2019 championship Raptors squad was full of lovable players. Marc Gasol, the former all-star who was just missing a championship ring, Pascal Siakam, the 27th overall pick, who defied expectations and became an all-star, Kyle Lowry, the selfless and loyal Raptor who didn't pull a Vince Carter or Chris Bosh, undrafted sensation Fred VanVleet, Jeremy Lin, enough said, and of course Serge Ibaka, another well-respected veteran. Throw in the one-year run with Kawhi Leonard, and those Raptors were truly a lovable and passionate bunch to get behind. And much of the basketball world was thrilled to see them defeat the back-to-back defending champion Warriors in the NBA Finals because people got sick of the same old winners. The whole #We the North movement swept across Canada in the second half of the 2010s and made the Raptors can't-miss TV. Oakland Athletics. The Athletics are impossible to hate in multiple ways. For one, Billy Beane's whole Moneyball method became so admired and respected that it became a hit 2011 film starring Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Chris Pratt, and Robin Wright. So, it's been fun to see the A's field several playoff squads over the years with the minimalist budgets compared to other teams. Their stadium is a mess and attendance is honestly sad, but yet Beane keeps finding ways to rebuild this team into a contender. Secondly, it's hard to hate the Athletics because whenever they decide to rebuild, the team just straight up sucks. They cannot afford to pay their best players, so Beane has no choice but to eventually trade them all and begin the rebuild. That means the A's are often near the very bottom in the standings, dead last in attendance and dead last in payroll. So how do you hate on a team like that? They're either really good with a tiny payroll or really, really bad with practically no payroll. Those are not formulas for hating on a sports team. Detroit Lions. We've seen the term lovable losers on this list several times now. The term was a popular description for the Chicago Cubs before they finally broke through and won the 2016 World Series. Well, no NFL franchise is better tied to lovable losers than the Lions. This is a team that last won a championship in 1957. Since then, one postseason victory, with the last coming against the Dallas Cowboys in 1991. So that is 3 decades and counting since Detroit's last playoff win. They couldn't build a winner around Matthew Stafford, and then he goes on to win a Super Bowl ring in his first season with the Rams. This franchise couldn't break through despite the presence of all-world talents like Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Stafford, and Ndamukong Suh. You feel for the fans and players who suffered under that embarrassing 0-16 season in 2008, the disastrous Matt Millen era, the inexcusable firing of Jim Caldwell, and the messy 3-year tenure of Matt Patricia. Detroit was spoiled by the success of the Pistons and the Red Wings in the 90s and 2000s. But those loyal folks in Motor City don't know what a winning football team feels like. And you don't have to be a Lions fan to feel sorry for them. If these Lions ever get to a Super Bowl, neutral fans outside of Detroit will surely be happy to see them get there. These fans have suffered long enough. You just want to see a longtime loser like the Lions grow into a winner once and for all. But what other sports teams do you believe are impossible to hate? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.